What challenges have you faced as a young athlete going into the Olympics, like in such an intense environment?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging to go in young because you go in as an underdog for sure. Especially in the sport of luge, it's a very experience-based sport,
Mm-hmm.
whereas you'll see the top guys in our sport be upwards of 30, even 40 years old. So, experience really kills in our sport, and you're going in with only a few years under your belt. So it's kind of hard to see yourself as a medal contender doing that. So I think a big challenge is getting over that mental hurdle of saying I can compete with the top people in the world. I can be the best. It hasn't panned out that way in the Olympics yet, but on the World Cup stage and World Championships, I've proven myself, and hopefully moving forward, we can just keep chipping away at that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's awesome. And obviously, like doing this at a young age, you have to kind of sacrifice a lot. I know a ton of athletes who have gone to ski schools and gone out west, and they don't really have a typical high school career, college, and you're traveling, competing with amazing athletes everywhere. So it's, I'm sure, very like maturing, humbling experience, especially because a lot of 22-year-olds are doing completely different things now.
Yeah, for sure.
I have, my older siblings are like 26, 24, 22. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a different life. But what lessons do you think you've learned from this process that other people your age might not have gained?
I don't know, that's tough. I feel like luge, not even luge, just being an athlete at this caliber has kind of taught me a lot of things. It's taught me, you kind of touched upon it, how to be independent. I moved away from my family to go pursue training up in Lake Placid in, what grade was it? Seventh grade. So,
Wow.
I've been gone from my family, kind of living on my own, training on my own for a long time. So that kind of makes you want to grow up quick. When I came up here, I had no idea how to do laundry, but then you kind of figure it out. You ruin a few white shirts, and then you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's obviously kind of a funny example, but there's a lot of things like that. We're traveling around the world, learning different cultures. So while we're not, adhering to the kind of cookie cutter, finish your school in X amount of years, get this degree, go on, get a job at some corporate culture type deal. I think we're still getting the experiences that'll help us out in life later. Hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Haven't faced
definitely.
real life yet.
Yeah. And you can tell from the videos that, and just research, I guess, that your family is just huge team supporter, which is amazing. And your dad was the one who like built the course in the backyard
Yeah.
with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I saw a video where he was I guess he posted on Facebook or something saying you were single and like wanted to find dates for you. And I know my dad definitely prides himself on being like the world's most embarrassing father. But
Yeah.
what do you think you've learned from his like just energy and support that he always brings?
That's a great question. I don't know. I feel like my family has really taught me how to just give it your all. If there's something worth doing, it's worth overdoing. It's kind of been their motto their whole life, and I think that's kind of come on to me. It's never, I came into luge and never kind of half-assed it. I always gave it my all, gave it my best. If I'm going to sacrifice all the schooling, I'll going away from all my friends and family. You got to give it your all, and I feel like I've gotten a lot of my work ethic and everything from my family. My dad taught me a lot of it, but it wasn't just him. It was my mom and my sisters, and it's a group effort. If you have a crappy race, they're there to pick you up. If you have a great race, they're there to pick you up even higher. So it's always great to have a supportive family.
Right, definitely. You have two siblings, right?
Two sisters, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have four siblings, so I definitely know the family support system.
Yeah, of course.
And when was it that you knew you wanted to be a professional athlete, or when wanted to get into this?
There's definitely different stages where it evolved. I knew I wanted to be, an Olympic luger. I had seen the Olympics from such a young age. My family is Olympic nerds. Every time the Olympics came on, whether it be summer or winter, the TV would be on from opening ceremonies. It really wouldn't turn off till closing ceremonies. I mean, we were just absolutely enthralled by the whole thing. And I think I've always kind of wanted to be an Olympian. It's always a dream of a lot of young kids when they watch the Olympics to be an Olympian. I never really knew what sport it was going to be in. As I got a little bit older, I started doing other sports, and nothing really clicked for me. You know, baseball, hockey, all the balls, typical ball sports that people play usually. And I never really found a passion for it. But then we got into luge. We built the backyard track and eventually went to Lake Placid to try it for real. And I really found a passion for it and loved it. And that was something I knew I wanted to pursue. Maybe not so much to be an Olympic caliber athlete, but just to kind of have fun in it. Then, you know, as you get a little bit deeper and deeper and you get better and better, you go, holy crap, maybe this is a possibility. And I want to work towards that goal.
Right. Wow. And have you ever looked up to one specific athlete and just kind of, you know, shaped yourself after that one person? Or are there people that you've met along the way that you've really looked up to for a specific reason?
Yeah, there's been definitely athletes within my sport. Armin Ziegler, for one, has been great to watch, but a more conventional name that most people would know is I've always kind of looked up to Michael Phelps. His amazing debut, or not even debut, his amazing feat was in 2008 when he won all the gold medals. And that was kind of right as I was getting into the sport for real. I think I was 2 years onto the developmental team at the time. So as he was, you know, reaching his peak and continuing his peak, I was just starting. So it was kind of awesome to see what he does at such a high caliber to do that and maintain that, you know, awesomeness really. And, you know, try to model that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's insane. And I mean, I can't recall anything that he said in particular, but I know athletes in general, especially pretty famous ones, tend to have their own mottos and just their own kind of quotes they brand that really keeps them motivated. And I forget who right now, but don't quit, kind of suffer now, live your rest of your life as a champion.
Right.
Have you ever kind of come up with something, or is there something you tell yourself a lot, a specific motto you always keep in mind?
No, maybe not a motto, but I don't know. I feel like I always try to be the hardest worker, and then whatever results follow, I'll be happy with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received, and who said it?
Oh boy. Best piece of advice. I don't know who said it, but someone one time after a race, it was a crappy race, I was really down on myself, and they told me not to take it too seriously, not to take life too seriously. You know, it's kind of funny, you get so into it, you think that one race is going to destroy your world, but when you take a step back and zoom out, you're so lucky. You know, I'm able to travel the world with some of my best friends, competing in a sport that I've loved since I was 10 years old. You know, I'm really just fortunate to do this. So when you can take that kind of stance on life, or that you're just kind of lucky to be doing it, I think that kind of helps you even perform better, because you don't put such a, you know, harshness on everything.
Right. And then kind of going off of that, how do you keep yourself so motivated that day after day after day, even years? How do you come up every time with a lot of energy and keep yourself in check?
I'm really competitive. I just hate losing. I think that's a big thing that keeps me going. You know, that taste of winning is something that always brings people back. You know, even a simple Monopoly game, I don't take losing well. So I think that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, that's awesome. Then aside from motivating yourself, how do you deal with all of the stress that comes before events and racing? I'm not anywhere near Olympic material at all, but I grew up ski racing, and something that all ski racers say is just the nerves right before you're out the gate is just brutal, and you feel sick. How do you manage the stress of traveling and getting ready for events and all that?
It's definitely a learned skill. I wouldn't say there's one thing that does it, and it's definitely something I'm still learning. You know, if I were to say that I wasn't nervous to the bone before a race, that there wasn't butterflies coming out my throat, I'd be a stone cold liar. You know, everyone is nervous before a race. I think what separates a winner from someone who's maybe middle of the pack is what they do with those nerves. You know, how do they channel those nerves into a better performance? Because at the end of the day, everyone's nervous. I mean, whether it's taking a test or going for a job or interview or anything, everyone gets nervous. It's just how you use those nerves.
Right. That's a good point. What was life like when you're at the Olympic Village?
It's a ton of fun. Luge, men's singles in particular, is very lucky. We're the first 2 days of competition, and then we're done for the rest of it. So opening ceremonies happened. We competed right off the bat. And then for the rest of it, we were just Olympic fans that, that had a free trip to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. You get to hang out with the other athletes, get to see other sports, kind of see the dynamic of everything. You get to go watch and cheer, and it's a ton of fun.
And what were you really, really interested in going to go see? Like, who are you the biggest fan of?
I was really excited to go see some of the skiing events. I'm a big fan of Michaela Schifrin. I think she's just really a boss, and how she's just dominated from such a young age. I mean, she's my age, and she's just absolutely crushed the rest of the field. Like, she's playing in a different sport. So I thought that was really cool to go watch. I watched a little bit of the curling, and that was really cool to see. Some of the hockey games. The women's hockey game was really, really cool, to break the 20-year drought. So it's just so much fun to see Team USA do well, and it's fun to cheer everyone on.
Yeah. I actually my sisters and I grew up skiing, they're older, but they grew up with skiing in the same races as Michaela Schifrin.
Oh, really?
Of course, they're dead last, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she was just as good back then.
What has your favorite country been so far?
The USA, of course.
Well, traveling all over the world, right?
Yeah. No, I think I like Austria the best, probably overall. We hit a lot of the same spots twice, so we don't get to go anywhere super cool. But Austria is definitely one of the prettiest spots on tour for us. It's you settled right in the mountains. Everything's always snow capped. Very nice people. Sometimes it's good food. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Other than competing in the Olympics and when things start to settle down a little bit, what kinds of activities do you do in your off season?
There isn't really much of an off season for us. We actually just started our off season, so there's a lot of training for us. It really is like a 9-to-5 job, but then outside of that time, we're in the heart of the Adirondacks, so it's nice to just get outside here, go for a hike or maybe go biking, go sit by the lake. Nothing too specific, but just be a little active.
Right. Is there anything you'd like to do more of?
Yeah, I'd like to be definitely better about going outside. Definitely sometimes when training gets hard, a nap sounds a lot better than going for a walk around the lake or something like that. But, it's definitely a balance.
Mm-hmm. And then after traveling internationally, competing with all these people, such intense environment all the time, what is it like to come home and be where you grew up and see the backyard course that you started at?
It's the best. Coming back to see the backyard course, especially coming home from the Olympics, it's pretty humbling. It's kind of, you were at the top of the top, and then you get to see where it all began. So, it's kind of metaphorical and cool to see that. But to go back to your question of what it's like to come home, it's really awesome to just come home, decompress, see your family, live a little bit of a normal life for a little bit, not always be on the road or training hard. It's just kind of let your body relax. So, those weeks that you get off, they're truly ones that we cherish.
Mm-hmm. And I think you were telling someone on a radio interview once that you were really trying to get a lot of youth involved in doing luge and going out to Lake Placid and trying to create more opportunities for people to get into luge and compete more. So do you kind of wish you had that when you were younger?
Yeah, I don't personally partake in an outreach program. I wish I did. I wish I had an avenue for that. Luge is such an awesome sport. I wish that more of America and the rest of the world could love it. Obviously, it's kind of tough. There's only 2 luge tracks in America. There's one in Lake Placid, New York, and one in Park City, Utah. So unless you're really centered around that area, it's a little bit tough to get to and a little bit tough to do. But I don't know. I think it's not even so much just luge. It's trying those kind of niche sports like curling or the sports that you just only see in the Olympics. The ball sports aren't really the only ones out there. I think people should really get out and try other sports, and maybe they'll find a passion in something like a niche sport like I did.
Right. Awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much everything Mike and I covered.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, have fun with the rest of your training.
Thank you so much. Take
Bye,
care.
Tucker.
Bye-bye.